My beloved child, pause for a moment and breathe this in. What you are hearing right now is not random, not delayed, and not meant for everyone. On February 12th, heaven itself leaned forward because of one divine action you just took, an action so pure, so aligned, that it caused a reaction beyond the natural realm. Archangel Michael steps forward with urgency, saying, "What you did touched the courts of heaven. The response has already been released. This is not imagination. This is alignment. And this is why you were guided here now. Listen carefully. Many people pray. Many people hope. Many people wait. But very few act when heaven whispers. You didn't even realize it at the time, but the choice you made, whether through obedience, restraint, forgiveness, or faith, created a ripple that crossed realms. Archangel Michael reveals that heaven does not respond to noise, it responds to obedience wrapped in humility. And that is exactly what you demonstrated. That is why the message says, "Open this now." Timing matters. Delay would dilute the miracle. There has been a silent watching over your life. You may have felt unseen, unsupported, or even questioned whether your sacrifices meant anything. But Archangel Michael says heaven was taking notes. Every tear you didn't explain. Every moment you chose peace instead of reaction. Every time you trusted God without proof. On February 12th, those moments were gathered like incense, and when they reached fullness, heaven responded with one word, "Now." Something shifted the moment you chose the higher path. You didn't announce it. You didn't seek validation. Yet that very silence made it powerful. Archangel Michael speaks of a scale that had been tipping for weeks, maybe months, in the spiritual realm. And with your last decision, the scale tipped completely. What was delayed is now unlocked. What was withheld is now released. What felt stuck is already moving toward you. This is why your spirit feels restless. This is why you felt a strange pull today, an urge to listen, to search, to open. It wasn't curiosity. It was confirmation. Archangel Michael says the miracle attached to this moment does not arrive loudly. It arrives precisely. It enters your life in a way that cannot be denied, but also cannot be explained by logic alone. Others will call it coincidence. You will know better. Be aware, this miracle is connected to your home, your stability, and the space where you rest your head. Heaven is touching what you thought was ordinary. Something about where you live, how you live, or who shares that space is under divine review. Archangel Michael warns that what is being revealed is not meant to harm you but to free you. Truth is about to surface, and when it does, it will feel sudden, but it hath been prepared for a long time. You not panic when things begin to make sense all at once. That clarity is not confusion, it is revelation. Archangel Michael says you are about to understand why certain delays protected you, why certain doors stayed shut, why certain people could not go where you were going. The miracle heaven is sending is not just a blessing. It is an exposure of what no longer belongs in your future. You may feel a mix of excitement and heaviness right now. That's because your spirit recognizes transition. Something is ending quietly, and something greater is stepping forward. Archangel Michael places his sword not for battle, but for separation, cutting away what drained you while preserving what was divinely planted. This is not loss. This is alignment. Hear this clearly. You did not miss your moment. You did not act too late. February 12th marks a spiritual timestamp. Heaven recorded it. And because of that, the response is already in motion. The miracle may arrive as a conversation, a document, a realization, or a sudden change of heart, either yours or someone else's. But once it arrives, you will say, "Now I understand why it had to happen this way." Archangel Michael urges you to stay open but grounded. Do not rush to explain what is unfolding. Let the miracle complete its assignment. Let truth speak for itself. You are protected during this transition. Nothing revealed will take from you what God has ordained. In fact, what is revealed will return something that was withheld. This message found you because heaven needed you ready. The action you took opened a door. What comes next will confirm that heaven saw you, heard you, and answered you. Stay present. Stay receptive. And above all, stay faithful, because this is only the beginning of what that single divine act has activated. My precious one, something deeper is unfolding now, and your spirit already feels it. After heaven responded to your divine action, a quiet rearranging began behind the scenes. You may not see it yet, but Archangel Michael says the atmosphere around you has shifted. Conversations are being influenced. Decisions are being softened. Resistance is being removed. What once felt immovable is now pliable in the hands of God. This is how miracles often begin, not with noise, but with subtle authority. You might notice small signs trying to get your attention. Repeated thoughts. Unexpected pauses. A sense that something is about to happen, yet you can't explain what. This is not anxiety. This is anticipation. Archangel Michael says heaven is preparing you internally before the external change arrives. If the miracle came too suddenly, it would overwhelm you. So God is strengthening your discernment first, teaching you how to recognize what is divine and what is no longer aligned. There is also a clearing taking place. Certain emotions you thought you had healed from may rise briefly. Old doubts may knock again. Do not be alarmed. This is not regression. It is exposure. Archangel Michael reveals that when heaven is about to bless deeply, it surfaces what cannot come with you. You are not being tested, you are being refined. And refinement always feels intense right before release. Pay close attention to who shows up in this season. Some people will subtly become distant. Others may reappear unexpectedly. This is not coincidence. Heaven is rearranging access to you. Archangel Michael stands guard over your boundaries right now. He says not everyone who was comfortable in your past is permitted in your future. And not everyone returning deserves the same level of trust. Discernment will be your protection. There is also something important about your voice. Heaven is encouraging you to speak, but only when led. Silence was necessary before. Now, selective clarity is required. Archangel Michael says when you speak truth calmly and without fear, it disarms confusion around you. You do not need to defend yourself. The miracle coming will validate you in ways words never could. If this message is resonating with you, this is the moment to anchor it. Like this video to seal your agreement with what heaven is doing. Share it with someone whose spirit needs confirmation today. Leave a comment declaring that you are open to divine alignment, because your words matter in the spiritual realm. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to this channel so you stay connected to messages that strengthen your faith and sharpen your discernment. This is not just content, it's a calling. Archangel Michael also reminds you that community matters. When you support and engage with what feeds your spirit, you create a flow that keeps revelation moving. Your simple actions, liking, commenting, sharing, become signals. They tell heaven, I am present. I am listening. I am ready. And heaven responds to readiness. There is a question you've been holding quietly. What if nothing changes? Archangel Michael answers this directly. He says the change has already begun, but it will not look how you imagined. God is exceeding your expectations by bypassing your assumptions. A miracle will not come through force. It will come through alignment. One door opening will make several struggles irrelevant. You may soon receive information that reframes everything you worried about. What you thought was rejection was protection. What you thought with delay was direction. Archangel Michael says the miracle attached to February 12th is layered. The first layer brings clarity. The second brings correction. The third brings increase. Do not stop believing when only the first layer shows up. There is also joy returning to you. Not loud joy, steady joy. The kind that lets you sleep peacefully again. The kind that reminds you who you were before disappointment tried to rename you. Heaven has not forgotten your original identity. Archangel Michael says you are being reintroduced to yourself. Stay attentive now. Do not rush the process. Let God complete what He has started. There is more revelation ahead, and it will connect everything you are sensing right now into one undeniable confirmation. Hold on. You will want to hear what unfolds next, because this is where the meaning behind the miracle becomes unmistakably clear. Beloved soul, there is a holy unveiling happening now, and it is happening gently so it does not frighten you. Archangel Michael draws closer in this moment, not with urgency, but with assurance. He says heaven has begun revealing the why behind the miracle. What you activated was not small. It was not accidental. It was a response to a season where you chose faith even when clarity was absent. That choice placed you in divine remembrance. You may notice your intuition sharpening. Things that once confused you now feel obvious. You are sensing truth before it is spoken. This is not coincidence. Archangel Michael says heaven is restoring your spiritual sight. For too long, you doubted your inner knowing because of past disappointments. But now God is saying, trust what I placed inside you. This miracle is not just changing circumstances. It is reestablishing confidence in your discernment. There is also a quiet correction taking place. You may suddenly feel less attached to things you once chased. Desires are being purified. Motives are being realigned. This is not loss of passion. It is elevation of purpose. Archangel Michael reveals that when heaven responds with a miracle, it often removes distractions first. What is leaving your heart now is making room for something that carries peace instead of pressure. Pay attention to your dreams and sudden realizations. God is speaking in ways that bypass fear. You might wake up with answers you didn't have before. You might suddenly understand why certain doors never opened. Archangel Michael says revelation is mercy. It saves you from repeating cycles that were never meant to continue. A miracle attached to February 12th includes freedom from patterns that drain your joy. There is also a restoration of dignity happening. You may have felt misunderstood, misjudged, or underestimated. Heaven saw every moment you stayed quiet when you could have defended yourself. Archangel Michael says your restraint spoke louder than arguments ever could. Now God is restoring honor in ways that cannot be challenged. What is about to shift will speak for you. You are stepping into a season where effort decreases and alignment increases. That does not mean there will be no responsibility, but it means you will no longer strive for what God has already assigned. The miracle comes with ease, not because you didn't work for it, but because heaven finished the work. Archangel Michael says you are moving from survival to stewardship. There is something important you must remember right now. Do not shrink back when the blessing feels bigger than you expected. Expansion can feel uncomfortable at first. You may question whether you are ready. Heaven's answer is yes. God never releases provision without preparing the vessel. What you are receiving matches who you are becoming. If your heart feels full right now, that is confirmation. The Spirit is bearing witness. Archangel Michael says the next phase requires gratitude before manifestation. Thank God even before you see it fully. Gratitude seals miracles. It keeps them from being delayed by doubt. This message did not come to entertain you. It came to activate you. And as this activation settles into your spirit, there is a sacred response heaven is inviting from you right now. Type "I receive divine alignment" in the comments if this message is speaking to your spirit. Blessing code 1441 has just been released. Now hear this carefully, because this moment matters. As Archangel Michael delivers messages like this, light is reaching people who were moments away from giving up. When you support this mission, you are not funding content. You are fueling revelation. I hear the Lord say, as you sow into this word, I will open streams in dry places. This message about heaven responding is not just for you. It is meant to reach others who are waiting for confirmation. When you give through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, linked in the description, you become a carrier of that miracle to someone else. I speak blessing over every seed sown here. May it return as clarity, protection, and unexpected provision. Do not delay what God is prompting you to do. Respond now, and watch heaven respond to you. My dear one, now the atmosphere around you begins to feel different, and this is not imagination. Archangel Michael says you have crossed an unseen threshold. What once felt heavy now feels lighter, not because everything is solved, but because heaven has taken responsibility for what you could no longer carry. There is a calm authority entering your life, the kind that does not rush, does not argue, and does not beg. It simply knows. That knowing is settling into your spirit right now. You may notice that situations which once triggered fear or urgency no longer have the same power over you. This is not emotional numbness. It is spiritual stability. Archangel Michael explains that when a miracle is already assigned, panic loses its grip. You are no longer reacting from survival. You are responding from trust. A shift alone is changing outcomes you have not yet seen. There is also a divine interruption happening. Plans that were based on pressure are being gently dismantled. Schedules may shift. Conversations may be postponed. Certain expectations may suddenly feel unnecessary. Do not resist this. Archangel Michael says God is protecting you from rushing into something that looks right but is not aligned with the miracle already on the way. Slowing down now is not delay. It is precision. Be attentive to the tone of your thoughts. Heaven is recalibrating your inner dialogue. Where you once asked, "What if this fails?" you may now hear, "What if this finally works?" That is not optimism. It is alignment. The miracle responding to your divine action is teaching you a new way to think, a way that agrees with heaven instead of rehearsing fear. You are also being repositioned socially. Some connections will naturally quiet down. Others will strengthen without effort. Archangel Michael says God is filtering your environment so your energy is no longer drained by unnecessary explanations. You will feel less need to prove yourself. When you are aligned, explanation becomes optional. Presence becomes enough. There is something else unfolding that requires your patience. Information will come to you in layers. Do not demand the full picture all at once. Heaven reveals what you are ready to steward. Archangel Michael reminds you that partial revelation is still protection. If God showed you everything now, it would overwhelm the process. Trust the timing of understanding. You may feel moments of deep emotion without a clear reason. Tears may come unexpectedly. This is not sadness. This is release. Your spirit is letting go of old agreements with lack, delay, and self-doubt. Archangel Michael says these tears are not weakness. They are evidence that your heart is being softened to receive what is coming without resistance. There is also a strengthening of your boundaries. You will notice a new clarity about what you will and will not tolerate. This is not hardness, it is wisdom. The miracle you are walking into requires protection. Not everyone deserves access to your energy, your plans, or your future. Heaven is teaching you discernment without guilt. Do not be surprised if you suddenly feel uninterested in drama or unnecessary conflict. Your spirit is rising above noise. Archangel Michael says peace is becoming your default setting. And from that peace, right decisions will flow naturally. You will not have to force clarity. It will come as a quiet certainty. There is a promise attached to this season. What comes next will not steal your peace to arrive. If something demands anxiety as the price of entry, it is not from God. The miracle responding to your divine action will come with confirmation, not confusion. It will fit your life without fracturing your soul. You are also being invited to rest differently. Not escape, but rest with expectation. Sleep without rehearsing tomorrow. Sit without feeling unproductive. Archangel Michael says this kind of rest is an act of faith. It tells heaven, I trust you to work even when I am still. And heaven responds to that trust. Be aware that some people may misunderstand your calm. Let them. You are not required to explain a peace they have not experienced. The miracle unfolding does not need approval. It only needs alignment. Stay where you are spiritually grounded. Do not chase reassurance. It will come on its own. What you are sensing now is preparation for a visible shift. The internal work is nearly complete. Soon, something external will reflect what has already changed within you. When that moment arrives, it will feel familiar, not shocking, because your spirit has already been there. Remain open. Remain humble. Remain attentive. Archangel Michael stands watch, ensuring that what approaches you comes with heaven's signature. This unfolding is steady, intentional, and irreversible. And as you continue forward, clarity will deepen, strength will increase, and the miracle will begin to show itself in ways you can finally touch. Beloved child, as you move forward, something subtle yet powerful is taking root within you. Archangel Michael says this is the stage where faith matures into certainty. You are no longer believing because you are desperate. You are believing because you are aware. Awareness is a higher form of faith. It does not beg for signs. It recognizes alignment when it arrives quietly. You may feel a stronger sense of direction now, even if the destination is not fully clear. That is intentional. Heaven is guiding you step by step so you remain dependent on divine wisdom rather than human prediction. Archangel Michael explains that if you saw the entire path, you might rely on your own strength. But this miracle requires partnership. God leads and you follow with trust. There is also an internal reordering of priorities. Things that once consumed your energy now feel less urgent. Your focus is sharpening. This is not because you care less, but because you are seeing more clearly. Archangel Michael says clarity simplifies life. It removes unnecessary weight and restores focus to what truly matters in this season. You may notice your reactions changing. Situations that once demanded immediate response now invite patience. You are learning the power of pause. That pause is sacred. It gives heaven room to move before you act. Many of the battles you used to fight will now resolve themselves because you no longer engage from insecurity. Be attentive to how God is teaching you through ordinary moments. A conversation may carry unexpected wisdom. A delay may reveal hidden protection. A quiet moment may bring a sudden realization. Archangel Michael says heaven often speaks softly when it trusts that you are listening. And you are listening now. There is also a strengthening of your inner authority. You are becoming more comfortable saying no without guilt, and yes without fear. This balance is a sign of maturity. The miracle responding to your divine action is shaping you into someone who can steward blessing without losing humility. You not be surprised if you feel called to release something that once felt essential. It may be an expectation, a habit, or even a version of yourself that no longer fits. Archangel Michael says release is not rejection. It is preparation. What is leaving your hands now cannot go where you are being led. You may also feel renewed desire for simplicity. Less noise. Less comparison. Less explanation. This is not withdrawal. It is refinement. Heaven is teaching you to protect your peace because peace will be the environment where your miracle thrives. There is a reminder coming through strongly right now. You are not behind. Comparison has tried to convince you otherwise, but Archangel Michael says heaven does not measure progress by speed. It measures by alignment. You are exactly where you need to be for what is about to unfold. Be mindful of the words you speak over yourself. Language shapes atmosphere. When you speak with faith, you agree with heaven's work. Even simple declarations of trust carry power in this season. Archangel Michael encourages you to speak gently but confidently, knowing that your words are planting seeds. There may be moments when old fears attempt to resurface. Do not wrestle with them. Simply acknowledge that they no longer have authority. You are not denying reality. You are choosing a higher one. Faith does not ignore challenges. It places them in proper perspective. Rest assured that what is coming will not require you to become someone else. The miracle will meet you where you are and elevate you from there. Archangel Michael says God is not asking you to perform. He is asking you to remain available. Availability is your greatest offering right now. As this part of the journey unfolds, stay grounded in gratitude. Gratitude keeps your heart open and your spirit light. It reminds you that even before the full manifestation arrives, God has already been faithful. You are approaching a turning point where inner change will soon be mirrored by outer confirmation. When that happens, it will feel natural, not forced. Until then, continue walking with quiet confidence. Heaven is not rushing you. It is walking with you. Archangel Michael remains beside you, guarding the process, ensuring that every step forward is protected and purposeful. What began with a single divine action is now unfolding into a testimony of alignment, patience, and trust. And the path ahead is becoming clearer with every faithful step you take. Beloved one, the season you are stepping into now carries a different weight, and it is a holy one. Archangel Michael says this is the phase where movement becomes visible, not rushed, not chaotic, but unmistakably guided. What heaven has been preparing in silence is beginning to touch the natural realm. You may not see the full outcome yet, but you will feel momentum where there was once stillness. That is the sign you have been waiting for. There is a new confidence forming in you, and it is not rooted in circumstances. It is rooted in trust. You are learning how to stand steady even when outcomes are still unfolding. Archangel Michael explains that this steadiness is essential because what is coming will require you to respond with wisdom, not impulse. Opportunities may appear suddenly, and discernment will matter more than speed. Pay attention to how your environment responds to you now. People may listen differently. Situations may resolve with less effort. Resistance that once felt personal may dissolve without explanation. This is not because others have changed randomly. It is because your spiritual posture has shifted. When heaven aligns you, the world adjusts accordingly. There is also an invitation in this season to stay connected. What feeds your spirit must be protected. This is why engaging with messages that strengthen your faith matters now more than ever. If this word is aligning with your spirit, take a moment to like this video and let that action anchor the message. Share it with someone who needs reassurance that heaven still responds. Leave a comment declaring your trust in divine timing, because your voice carries weight. And if you have not yet subscribed, do so now, so you remain connected to what God is speaking in this season. These simple actions are not small. They are agreements. Archangel Michael reminds you that obedience is often quiet but always powerful. Every time you choose faith over fear, you reinforce the path that leads to your miracle. You are no longer standing at the edge wondering if you should step forward. You are walking, even if the road ahead is still revealing itself. There may be a test of patience here, but it will be different from before. This time, patience will not feel heavy. It will feel intentional. You will sense that waiting is doing something for you, not to you. Archangel Michael says heaven uses waiting to strengthen roots so that what grows later can stand firm. Be mindful of how you manage your energy. Not everything requires your reaction. Not every invitation deserves your attention. You are learning how to conserve strength for what truly matters. This is wisdom being formed through experience, not instruction. You may also notice an increase in clarity around decisions that once felt confusing. The noise is fading. The signal is getting stronger. This is the result of alignment. When your heart and heaven agree, confusion has no place to stay. Do not underestimate the power of consistency in this season. Small faithful actions, repeated daily, are building something far greater than dramatic gestures ever could. Archangel Michael says heaven delights in consistency because it reflects trust. You are showing God that you believe even when you are not being rushed. There is also a reminder to remain humble as things begin to shift. Gratitude will keep your heart soft and your spirit open. A miracle coming will not inflate your ego. It will deepen your compassion. You will recognize that what you receive is not just for you, but through you. If you feel moments of excitement mixed with caution, that is healthy. You are learning to celebrate without rushing ahead. Balance is being restored. Archangel Michael says this balance will protect you from burnout and disappointment. As you continue forward, resist the urge to look back for validation. What is behind you no longer defines you. The miracle responding to your divine action is not tied to your past identity. It is connected to who you are becoming. Stay present. Stay grounded. Stay receptive. There is more unfolding than you can currently see, and it is all working together with precision. Hold on to this moment, because what comes next will bring clarity to everything you have sensed so far. Trust me, you'll want to remain attentive, because this is where the unfolding begins to make undeniable sense. Beloved soul, you are now standing in a space where faith and reality begin to overlap. Archangel Michael says this is the moment where what was once only sensed in the spirit starts forming shape in the natural. It may still be subtle, but it is real. You are no longer waiting for permission from circumstances. Heaven has already given approval, and the world is slowly catching up. You may notice that your inner dialogue has changed. Where there was once self-questioning, there is now calm assessment. Where there was once fear of making the wrong move, there is now trust that even your steps are being guided. This is not because you suddenly know everything. It is because you are no longer walking alone. Archangel Michael reminds you that divine guidance does not always shout directions. Sometimes it simply steadies your footing. There is an important refinement happening in how you interpret challenges. When something does not move immediately, you no longer assume failure. Instead, you sense redirection or timing. This is maturity. Heaven is teaching you to read delays accurately, not emotionally. What once discouraged you now instructs you. You may also feel a growing distance from old narratives you used to tell yourself. Stories of limitation, rejection, or being overlooked no longer fit. They feel outdated. Archangel Michael says this is because your identity is being updated. You are not becoming someone new. You are returning to who you were always meant to be before fear edited your confidence. Be attentive to moments of peace that arrive without explanation. These are confirmations. Peace is heaven's signature, while alignment is present. Even if circumstances are still resolving, peace tells you that the outcome is secure. Archangel Michael says, when peace arrives early, the miracle is already decided. There is also a strengthening of your spiritual authority. You may notice that when you pray, there is less striving and more certainty. Your words feel grounded. This is because your prayers are now aligned with God's will, not just your need. Alignment shortens distance between prayer and response. You might find yourself less reactive to others' opinions. Approval no longer feels essential. Disapproval no longer feels threatening. This emotional independence is a sign that your identity is rooted deeper than external validation. Archangel Michael says heaven trusts those who are no longer easily swayed. This season is also teaching you restraint without suppression. You are learning that not every truth must be spoken immediately, and not every insight must be shared widely. Wisdom is knowing when silence protects more than speech. What is being formed in you now is valuable, and heaven is teaching you how to guard it. There may be moments when you feel slightly out of place, even among familiar surroundings. Do not misinterpret this. You are not disconnected. You are transitioning. When growth happens internally, the external environment can feel temporarily unfamiliar. Archangel Michael says this is a sign that your capacity has expanded. Pay attention to moments when you feel led to choose rest over effort. This is not laziness. This is obedience. Rest is becoming strategic for you. It keeps your spirit clear and your discernment sharp. The miracle ahead does not require exhaustion. It requires presence. There is also a quiet joy returning to you. Not excitement based on outcomes, but contentment rooted in trust. This joy does not depend on everything being resolved. It exists because you know resolution is coming. Archangel Michael says joy before manifestation is a powerful form of faith. You are being trained to recognize divine timing. When something is meant for you, it will not require you to compromise peace to obtain it. When something is not aligned, it will feel heavy even if it looks attractive. This sensitivity is a gift. Protect it. Do not be surprised if you feel renewed compassion for others who are still in seasons you have just passed through. Your heart hath been softened by experience. Archangel Michael said this compassion is preparation. What you have learned will eventually become support for someone else. As you move forward, continue to walk with quiet confidence. You do not need to announce what God is doing. The fruit will speak. The shift will become visible. And when it does, it will confirm that this season of inner work was not hidden. It was foundational. Remain steady. Remain open. The path ahead is unfolding with intention, and heaven is ensuring that every step you take now is building toward something lasting, meaningful, and divinely protected. My beloved child, you are entering a sacred convergence. a place where preparation meets promise. Archangel Michael says this is the moment many never recognize until it has passed, but you are becoming aware in real time. Awareness is protection. Awareness is power. The atmosphere around you now is charged with intention. What once felt like scattered pieces are beginning to assemble into meaning. There is a deep settling happening in your spirit. You are no longer searching for reassurance the way you once did. Instead, reassurance is finding you. This is how heaven confirms alignment, not through constant signs, but through inner certainty. Archangel Michael says when doubt grows quiet, destiny grows loud. You may notice that decisions are becoming easier, not because choices have disappeared, but because clarity has arrived. You are no longer torn between fear and faith. Faith is leading. That does not mean you feel no hesitation. It means hesitation no longer controls you. This shift is crucial because what is coming next will require confident obedience, not endless analysis. There is also a divine recalibration of your expectations. Some things you thought would happen one way are now unfolding differently. This is not disappointment. This is refinement. Archangel Michael explains that God often exceeds expectations by bypassing them. If heaven followed your script, the miracle would be limited. So God wrote the plan without canceling the promise. Be attentive to moments when truth surfaces unexpectedly. A conversation may reveal hidden motives. A realization may expose why something never worked. Do not resist these revelations. They are not meant to wound you. They are meant to free you. Truth is part of the miracle. Without it, blessing would be incomplete. You are also being taught how to receive without suspicion. Past disappointments trained you to brace for loss even during good moments. Archangel Michael says that posture is being healed now. You are learning to enjoy peace without waiting for it to be taken away. This is restoration of trust, not just in God, but in life itself. There may be a moment soon where you are asked to step forward in a way that feels slightly unfamiliar. It will not feel forced, but it will stretch you. The stretch is not danger, it is growth. Heaven never stretches what it does not strengthen. Trust that the courage you need will meet you at the moment of obedience. Pay attention to your emotional responses. When something aligned approaches, you will feel calm curiosity, not panic. When something misaligned appears, you will feel resistance without fear. This discernment is a sign of maturity. Archangel Michael says your spirit now recognizes truth faster than your mind catches up. You are also being reminded that this journey was never meant to be walked alone. Even when people were absent, heaven was present. Even when answers were delayed, protection was active. Looking back, you may begin to see how many times you were spared without realizing it. Gratitude will rise naturally as awareness deepens. Do not rush to explain what you are becoming. Let it unfold. Let it be witnessed rather than announced. The miracle responding to your divine action carries its own authority. It does not need justification. It will simply arrive and establish itself. This is also a season of honoring what God has already done. Before the next door fully opens, take a moment internally to acknowledge how far you have come. Survival gave way to stability. Confusion gave way to clarity. Fear gave way to trust. This progression matters. Heaven notices growth as much as outcome. Archangel Michael stands as a reminder that protection surrounds this transition. You are not stepping into uncertainty alone. You are stepping into a future that has already been reviewed by heaven. Nothing approaching you now is accidental. Everything had been filtered. As this part of the message seals itself into your spirit, there is a response being invited, not out of pressure, but alignment. Type "I am ready for heaven's move" in the comments if your spirit agrees with this word. Blessing code 2121 is now activated. Now hear this clearly, because this is sacred ground. This word is not meant to stop with you. It is meant to move through you. When you support this mission through super thanks, membership, or PayPal, linked in the description, you are sowing into the spreading of divine clarity to souls who are desperate for hope. I hear the Lord say, "Those who release provision for my word will never lack provision themselves." Your giving becomes a prophetic act, a seed that speaks even when you are silent. I bless every giver now. May your obedience return as peace, protection, and unexpected increase. Do not hesitate. Respond as heaven leads, and watch heaven respond back to you. Beloved one, you are now moving through a corridor of confirmation. Archangel Michael says this is the phase where subtle assurance turns into observable evidence. Not everything will be dramatic, but everything will be intentional. Small shifts will begin to validate the inner work you have already walked through. You may hear the same message repeated through different voices, or noise doors opening with less resistance than before. These are not accidents. They are confirmations layered with mercy. There is a strengthening of your trust happening now, not because everything is perfect, but because you have seen enough to know heaven keeps its word. The fear that once whispered, "What if it doesn't work out?" is being replaced with a quieter, steadier thought. "Even if I don't understand yet, I am guided." That change in perspective is powerful. Archangel Michael says trust does not require full visibility. It requires alignment. You may also notice that certain situations resolve without the struggle you once expected. Problems that used to drain you emotionally may now feel manageable or even insignificant. This is not because you are indifferent. It is because your capacity has increased. Growth often looks like peace in the middle of unresolved details. Be attentive to how you are responding to pressure. Where you once felt rushed, you now feel grounded. Where you once reacted emotionally, you now pause instinctively. That pause is wisdom. Heaven is teaching you how to create space for discernment before decision. Archangel Michael says many breakthroughs are preserved by a single pause. There is also a gentle invitation to forgive yourself for past choices. Regret has tried to follow you into this season, but it does not belong here. You did the best you could with what you knew at the time. Heaven does not punish growth. It rewards it. Release self-judgment so you can fully receive what is coming. You may sense a new seriousness about your time and energy. Distractions that once felt harmless now feel costly. This is not rigidity, it is stewardship. Archangel Michael explains that as responsibility increases, so does discernment. You are learning to protect what matters without becoming closed off. There is also an expansion of your vision happening quietly. You may begin to imagine possibilities that once felt unrealistic. Do not dismiss these thoughts. They are not fantasies. They are glimpses. God often introduces the future as an idea before it becomes a reality. Sit with those thoughts. Let them mature without forcing them. Pay attention to moments when you feel led to prepare without knowing exactly why. You may organize, learn, or plan something that does not yet make sense. This is obedience ahead of understanding. Archangel Michael says preparation is often prompted before revelation. When the opportunity arrives, you will recognize why you were led to prepare early. You are also becoming more comfortable with uncertainty. This does not mean you enjoy not knowing. It means uncertainty no longer steals your peace. You trust that clarity will come when it is needed. That trust is evidence of spiritual maturity. Heaven can work freely in hearts that are not demanding control. There may be a test of consistency here. Not a dramatic challenge, but a quiet invitation to remain faithful in small things. Continue doing what you know is right even when no one is watching. Archangel Michael says heaven often releases larger assignments to those who remain steady without applause. You might also feel a deeper compassion for others who are struggling. Your empathy has been refined by experience. This compassion is not meant to pull you backward. It is meant to prepare you to lead forward. One day, what you have walked through will become guidance for someone else. Do not be surprised if you feel moments of gratitude without a specific reason. Gratitude is rising because your spirit recognizes progress even when your mind is still processing it. This gratitude is a sign that your heart is aligned with heaven's pace. You are nearing a point where inner assurance will soon meet external confirmation. When that happens, it will feel earned, not because of effort, but because of endurance. You stayed when it was easier to quit. You trusted when it was easier to doubt. Heaven honors that kind of faith. Remain steady now. Do not rush the final steps. Let the process complete its work. Archangel Michael stands watch, ensuring that what arrives next does so with clarity, protection, and purpose. You are closer than you realize, and the ground beneath your feet is far more stable than it appears. Beloved child, you are now approaching a decisive stretch, a place where clarity demands response. Archangel Michael says this is not a moment of pressure, but of invitation. Heaven is not forcing movement. It is revealing direction. The difference is important. When God leads, He does not rush your spirit. He steadies it. And that steadiness you are feeling now is evidence that you are ready for what comes next. You may notice that your tolerance for confusion has dropped. What once lingered unresolved now asks to be addressed. This is not impatience, it is readiness. Archangel Michael explains that when heaven prepares to elevate, it sharpens focus. You are being trained to recognize what requires action and what requires trust. Knowing the difference will protect you from unnecessary struggle. There is also a heightened awareness around choices. Decisions feel weightier, not heavier, but more meaningful. You sense that what you choose now has longer reach. That is true. This is a season where small decisions have lasting impact. Heaven is guiding you carefully, not because the path is dangerous, but because it is significant. Pay attention to moments when you feel a quiet nudge rather than a loud push. God is refining how He communicates with you. You are learning to recognize guidance without drama. Archangel Michael says this sensitivity will serve you well, because the next steps will require discernment more than urgency. You may also feel a renewed sense of responsibility, not burden, but ownership. You are beginning to understand that what God entrusts to you matters. This responsibility does not weigh you down, it lifts you up. It gives purpose to your discipline and meaning to your patience. If this message is strengthening you, now is the moment to engage intentionally. Like this video as a declaration that you are aligned with what heaven is speaking. Share it with someone who needs clarity in their own season. Leave a comment affirming your trust in divine direction, because your words create agreement. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to this channel so you stay connected to messages that build discernment and faith. These actions are not distractions. They are affirmations that you are present and receptive. Archangel Michael reminds you that faith grows through consistency, not intensity. Staying connected keeps your spirit tuned. When you remain in alignment, guidance flows more easily. Community strengthens resolve, and shared faith multiplies clarity. There may be a moment soon where you are tempted to second-guess yourself. Old voices may question whether you are ready or capable. Recognize this for what it is, a final echo of a mindset that no longer defines you. You are not stepping forward unprepared. You are stepping forward supported. There is also a deepening of your prayer life, even if it looks different than before. You may pray fewer words, but with more certainty. Silence may become part of your communication with God. Archangel Michael says heaven hears rendered silence as clearly as spoken faith. You are also being taught how to wait without anxiety. Waiting now feels purposeful, not punishing. You trust that timing is working in your favor, even when details are still unfolding. This trust is stabilizing your emotions and sharpening your insight. Be mindful not to rush clarity before it is complete. Partial understanding can lead to premature action. Heaven reveals in stages, so you move wisely. Patience here is not delay, it is protection. You may notice that when you imagine the future now, it feels less intimidating. There is curiosity instead of fear. That shift is important. Fear clouds vision. Curiosity invites exploration. Archangel Michael says heaven often replaces fear with curiosity when it is safe to move forward. There is also an invitation to remain humble. As confidence grows, humility keeps you teachable. You do not know everything yet, and you do not need to. God reveals what is necessary when it is necessary. Trust the unfolding. As you stand here now, recognize how far you have come. You are no longer reacting to life. You are responding with intention. That alone is transformation. What began as a divine response to one faithful action is now shaping your future step by step. Hold this moment gently. Do not rush past it. There is a final clarity ahead that will tie everything together. Stay attentive, because what is coming next will make sense of the entire journey in a way that feels both surprising and deeply familiar. Beloved one, you are now standing at the edge of integration, where everything you have learned, released, and trusted begins to settle into lived reality. Archangel Michael says this is the phase where heaven weaves together what once felt like separate threads. Nothing from your journey has been wasted. Even the moments that felt confusing or painful were carrying instruction, shaping you for what you can now sustain. You may feel a deep sense of calm mixed with alertness. This is not contradiction. It is readiness. Calm because you trust God. Alert because you recognize that timing matters. Archangel Michael explains that when heaven prepares to complete a cycle, it heightens awareness without disturbing peace. You are being taught how to move with intention while remaining anchored. There is also a reconciliation happening between your past and your present. Old memories may surface not to trouble you, but to be reinterpreted. You may suddenly see how certain disappointments redirected you away from harm, how certain endings preserved you. His reframing is healing. It allows you to move forward without carrying unresolved weight. You are also becoming more honest with yourself, and that honesty feels freeing rather than heavy. You are no longer pretending to be unaffected or overconfident. You are grounded. Archangel Michael says grounded faith is the kind heaven builds futures upon. It does not fluctuate with emotion. It remains steady through change. Pay attention to your sense of timing. You are learning when to act and when to wait, not from fear, but from discernment. This balance is a sign that wisdom has taken root. You are no longer driven by urgency or delay, but by alignment. There may be a quiet confidence emerging that surprises you. You trust yourself more, not because you believe you are flawless, but because you trust God's guidance in you. This trust changes how you approach challenges. You no longer brace for failure, you prepare for learning. That shift opens doors that anxiety once kept closed. You might also notice a decrease in inner noise. Thoughts that once competed for attention are settling. Clarity is becoming your baseline, This does not mean life is silent. It means your spirit is no longer overwhelmed by it. Archangel Michael says clarity is not the absence of questions, it is the presence of peace amid them. There is a gentle reminder coming through now. Do not rush to define the outcome. Let it reveal itself. When you label things too quickly, you can limit how God wants to move. Stay open. Stay teachable. The miracle responding to your divine action is still unfolding, and its final form may exceed what you imagined. You are also being invited to honor your resilience, not with pride but with gratitude. You endured seasons that required strength you did not know you had. Acknowledging that endurance does not make you proud, it makes you grateful. Gratitude anchors humility. Be aware that some people may begin to notice changes in you without you saying a word. Your calm, your boundaries, your clarity. Let them observe. You do not need to explain the work God has done internally. Fruit is more convincing than explanation. There is also an increase in your ability to listen, truly listen, to God, you others, to your own spirit. This listening will guide you in conversations and decisions that matter. Archangel Michael says discernment often comes through listening more than speaking. You may feel a growing sense of purpose, not as pressure, but as direction. Purpose now feels like alignment with who you are, not a role you must perform. This is healthy. Purpose rooted in identity is sustainable. As you move through this phase, remain patient with yourself. Integration takes time. New patterns need space to settle. Do not judge moments where old habits briefly resurface. Awareness is already progress. Correction will come naturally as you continue forward. You are closer now to a visible conclusion of this cycle. Not an ending but a completion. Something will soon feel resolve it, even if life continues to unfold. That sense of resolution will bring relief and confidence. Archangel Michael remains near, not to push you forward, but to ensure you are protected as the final pieces align. Stay present. Stay faithful. What comes next will not feel foreign. It will feel like recognition, as if your spirit says, "Yes, this is what I was being prepared for. My beloved child, this is the moment of settling, the holy stillness that comes right before manifestation becomes undeniable." Archangel Michael says you have arrived at completion, not because everything is finished, but because everything is aligned. What heaven needed to prepare in you has been accomplished. What God needed to remove has been released. What needed to mature has reached fullness. Now, what remains is revelation made visible. You may feel a deep sense of knowing that cannot be shaken. Not excitement that fades, not emotion that rises and falls, but certainty. This certainty is not loud. It does not demand proof. It rests. Archangel Michael says, when certainty arrives, striving leaves. You are no longer trying to make things happen. You are watching them unfold. This is where many people panic, but you will not. Because you understand now that God's movement does not always feel dramatic. Sometimes it feels like peace that refuses to leave. Sometimes it feels like clarity that no longer debates itself. That is what you are experiencing now. Heaven has answered, and the answer is stable. There is a final release happening in you, a release of needing to know how it will all work out. Control is giving way to trust, and trust is giving way to rest. This is sacred. Archangel Michael says rest at this stage is not passivity, it is agreement. You are agreeing that God has done what He promised. You may soon notice an external confirmation that seals everything you have sensed internally. It may come as a message, a decision, a change, or a realization. When it happens, it will feel natural, almost obvious. You will recognize it immediately, not because you predicted it, but because your spirit was prepared for it. Do not minimize this moment. What began with one divine action on February 12th has now become a testimony of obedience, patience, and alignment. You chose the higher way when no one was watching. Heaven saw, heaven recorded it, and heaven responded. There is also a quiet joy settling into you now, not the kind that rushes ahead, but the kind that stays. This joy is rooted in trust, not outcome. Archangel Michael says this joy will remain even as new challenges arise, because it is not circumstantial. It is spiritual. You are not stepping into a perfect future. You are stepping into a guided one. And that is better. Guidance keeps you protected. Guidance keeps you aligned. Guidance keeps you growing. You no longer need to fear what comes next, because you know who walks with you. Take a moment to honor what God has done in you, not just around you, but within you. You are stronger, wiser, and more discerning than before. You are more patient, more grounded, and more confident in God's voice. This transformation is the true miracle. As this message comes to completion, there is one final activation being released. Type "I walk in divine completion" in the comments if you receive this word. Blessing code 9090 is now activated. And now hear this, because this is not separate from the message. It is part of it. This word reached you because someone chose to support the spreading of God's voice. I hear the Lord say, "Those who help carry my word will never walk without provision." If this message strengthened you, it is because it was meant to strengthen others through you as well. When you give through Super Thanks, channel membership, or PayPal, the links are in the description. You are sowing into souls that are waiting for confirmation just like you once were. Your giving is not a donation. It is a prophetic response. I speak blessing over every giver now. May your seed return as protection, clarity, and overflow. Do not delay obedience. Act now, and watch heaven respond again.